Hi everyone, it's Dasher Dave here, and I'm here with Brian, who is also known as
the Silvered Fox.
And obviously my name is Dave because I'm Dasher Dave, so I'm the Dave in Dash, not the Dash in Dave. So I'm not dashing Dave. So this is a bit different for you today, and the reason for that is it is World Autism Day today, which is the 2nd of April 2023, so Sunday the 2nd of April 2023. So I wanted to do something to kind of mark that occasion, and I'm going to talk about my autism as we fussy cut, but I also wanted to mark the occasion of it being my 400th video on YouTube. This is the 400th video.
Brava!
And it's also, sorry, I'm just going to turn my central heating down because it's going to get a bit warm otherwise. And it's also my 4th year this month. On the 19th of April will be my 4th year on YouTube. So
all the fours.
All the fours, yes.
All the fours.
So I'll sit and we're going to sit and fussy cut. We're going to have a bit of a chat, and I'm going to tell you about autism because I really think it's important that people know and understand more about it. So I'm going to start with a bit of statistics. And in the UK, only 16% of people with autism are in employment. Okay, so that's 16% of, that's not in full-time employment, that's in some kind of employment. It's, I can't remember the exact percentage, but it's something like 77% of those. In fact, it is 77%. If an autistic person says it's something like, they actually mean it is. It's something like 77%, as in it is 77% of those people who aren't employed, those autistic people that aren't employed, do want employment. And when I'm talking about these statistics and myself, I'm talking about people who have got some kind of diagnosis of autism. So that's what we're going to talk about. So I do work, but we'll go on to that shortly. I don't know how much of talking and cutting I can do. So if you see me lose a finger or a thumb,
I'll probably cut and he'll talk.
Yeah. So Brian's here.
It's just life. It's what we do.
Brian's here for the emergency services side of things in case I cut something off.
Because I don't faint at the sight of blood.
I will say as well, we've got this set up here. The reason for this is because it's got a microphone between us, so we've kind of had to come up with a bit of a convoluted thing.
So if you notice the Mickey Mouse, don't mind it.
It looks like a bit. He says it looks like Mickey Mouse. I thought it looked like something, you know, the alien bursting out of the chest cavity.
Now I'm scared. I'm not talking into it.
So, and I'll be talking about obviously autism in my usual way of when I talk. I can't do anything really terribly serious. So yes, as most of you are aware, I am autistic myself, and I kind of just wanted to talk about stuff, but now I've started, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
We're marking the fact that it's World Autism Awareness Day,
Yeah.
and this is your
a
small way of giving a few people a bit more awareness.
Yeah, and also I wanted to kind of contribute because I wanted people to remember, you know, that autistic people aren't the people that you think they are in your head. Very often people, one of the things that most people say to me is, "You're not autistic," which doesn't help because that's almost saying that they've got a preconceived idea what an autistic person is, which, you know, anybody can be, you know, they can have any condition and not necessarily show those traits, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. I do have some challenges in my life. I am pretty independent in life, but without Brian I don't think I'd have got through most of my most recent years of life, anyway, because I've had some challenges, and Brian is a really good friend who has learnt a lot about autism himself, but also helped me manage mine. So I had a late diagnosis. I didn't get diagnosed until I was 39, and that was as a result of going back into higher education. And in the UK, higher education basically means going back to university, or that would be known as college in some parts of the world. There's not more than one world, Dave. World. And that, well, yeah, not that I discovered anyway. So
we have just been watching Captain Janeway.
Yes, we've been. I'm very much into Star Trek and Star Wars and all of those kind of geeky things as well. So, but yeah, I can't remember what I was saying now. So, what was I saying, Brian? I have a really short attention span. So,
about late diagnosis.
Yeah, so I had a late diagnosis. So I went back to university to get a teaching degree, and it was kind of picked up in that process there. It was basically somebody that I was learning with who picked up the traits of it, which then led me down another path, and I found out more and got a diagnosis. So I got an educational diagnosis from an educational psychologist. I was going to say psychiatrist, but that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. And I actually, do you know, one of the things that people ask me was, why did you? What was the point of that? And it's actually empowerment, because once you know why you're a bit odd, it can help you, it can empower you, because you have that understanding of why you are and why things have been a bit challenging through life. A lot of the things that, when you look at classically autistic people, what the common problems are, there's a lot of them on the list that I go, yep, that's me, yep. There's a lot of things equally that aren't, and I will on this topic, I realise that lots of people say, well, I struggle with that and I struggle with that, but I'm not autistic. First of all, have you ever had a diagnosis to say you aren't? And then secondly, of course you'll struggle with some of the things that I deal with. So I deal with the things, the challenges I struggle with on a daily basis, all of the things arriving at the same time, whereas you might struggle with those things every now and again, periodically through life. And that's because there's one thing that we have in common, and that's that I'm a human being, and so are you. And therefore we are going to struggle with human issues. What doesn't help is saying, oh, you're not autistic. I have those issues as well, because that disempowers an autistic person. And I don't want to offend anybody. I'm going to use a very flippant example. You might have a big tummy, backache, and gas, but you wouldn't necessarily be pregnant, and you would never say to somebody, "Oh yeah, I know what's being pregnant's like, because I've got a big tummy, a backache, and gas." So you would never use that. But like, lots of people will say things like that to autistic people. "Oh, you're not autistic." I deal with that. You're just the same as us. That's actually quite disempowering to people. And I don't want to, upset people by saying things like that. I would never compare myself to somebody else, because I don't know what they suffer with during day-to-day life. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And the other big thing is when people go...
Brian has to be my sense check.
It's when people go, you just need to calm down.
Yeah. Yeah, so another thing, like Brian's just said, is telling somebody to calm down is one of the I'm going to try and cut something less intricate. Because I nearly cut that one in half. Well, yes, being told to calm down. So if I have a crisis, which is, I actually prefer to call them a crisis. I used to call them meltdowns or shutdowns. So whereas a lot of autistic people will usually tend to have one or the other, I can have a mixture of both. So a meltdown for me is where it's all a bit crazy and it's very loud and it's traumatic and noisy and
sensory overload.
Yes, like a sensory overload. And then a shutdown for me is where it's like there's no kind of input or output. I just want to, shut down, basically, curl into myself and just, shut down. And so I have a mixture of those depending on the circumstances and the triggers. And some of the triggers that I have are things like noise. I hear sound all at the same time. My brain is constantly processing what I don't need to hear and what I do need to hear, and that's why things like trying to hold a conversation in a noisy environment is really difficult, because I can't necessarily filter out this, because there's so much input that it's very hard for me to filter out what I do need to hear and what I don't need to hear.
Yeah, I always used to think it was really weird you could hear light bulbs.
Yeah, I can hear things that others people can't, and then people say, well, you can't see it on that wall, but I have a lot of clocks. I'm a bit obsessed by time.
A little bit.
I have like 30 odd clocks. So
partly my fault.
Yeah. So Brian, encourages that.
Yeah, buy him a lot of clocks.
But I like ticking clocks, and I don't mind them being out of sync ticking, because it's actually quite soothing. So ticking clocks I find soothing. Whereas things like, I can hear things like the buzz of lights, I can hear radiators, like whistling, stuff that may be inaudible to other people. And that's why sometimes I can be triggered when actually it doesn't necessarily, there's no obvious trigger, because I'm basically being overloaded by filtering that out.
Did you spend a lot of time with you going, can you hear that? No.
Yeah.
You can't hear that? No. There's an alarm going off somewhere? No.
Yeah, I have this like super sensory hearing, so I can hear things that drive me absolutely insane other people can't hear. Or I'll even pick up on things that people don't know that they're doing. So like, people like drumming their fingers, or clicking their nails, or humming. Yeah, Brian hums a lot. So things like that can just drive me insane. They're like, it would be equivalent. I don't know, because I don't know you, and I don't know how you process things, and I don't know how what I would be considered neurodiverse, and I don't know what a neurotypical person deals with. But if I just played one track over and over and over again, really loud, you'd find it hard to process and deal. I guess you'd feel like it was just too much. But if you remember, I hear sound at the same kind of level, and I'm constantly filtering stuff out. It might as well, it doesn't matter how loud you're playing it, or how loud you're humming, or how loud you're drumming your nails, I still hear it all at that same level. And also, I'm not very good at knowing what to tell you, what not to tell you, and remembering what my train of thought is. So, so hopefully
Luckily
Brian will
we
help.
have editing.
So, well, yeah, hoping not to do too much editing. That's the reason why I don't. That's one of the other reasons why I don't do a lot of editing. I won't edit a lot out, because I don't know what I need to edit out and what should be left in. No. So if I'm writing a document at work, a how-to document will be so. Some people will find it patronising, because they think I'm telling them how to switch on a computer, for instance. But I have to know, I have to start right at the very beginning, tell you every possible step, all the way through, with potential different outcomes, so that I know it's covered. But then some people say that helps.
I was going to say, I know some of the people you work with. They need those steps.
So I like sometimes that that's one of the things that other people say about a lot of autistic people is, oh yes, you can tell that they're autistic, etc., because they're kind of like one topic focused, or they're obsessed by one thing, papercraft, or clocks, or what else am I obsessed by? Dust. Oh no, that's just something I've got a big collection of.
Yeah, you're not obsessed because you don't do anything about it.
Well, yeah, that's true, yeah. I'd love to have OCD about dusting, because like my house would be a lot cleaner then, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's only I see it. So, but yeah, I guess they're the kind of things that. So sound is a big trigger. Texture wise, I love. So if somebody's going to hug me, it has to be a really firm hug. I don't like gentle touching. I don't like the gentle touch of something. It's almost like it's
like fake velvet.
It's like irritating. Yeah, fake velvet. I mean, like some of the things I've got is a velvet. But you know
they're good.
You know the cheap Draylon-y type velvet that if you catch it with the wrong way and it feels horrible, it makes me feel, and I get a bit of PTSD regardless of what it is.
But we were talking about this the other day about the touch thing, because even if you know it's going to be horrible,
yeah,
you still want to touch it.
Yeah, I'm
so
constantly seeking a sensory world.
You'll look at cushions when we're out shopping, and you'll know it's going to be a horrible feeling one, but you still have to go.
And Brian just has to get something ready that I can touch to almost cancel that touch out.
Yeah.
So if I've touched something that I don't like, I need to cancel it out by touching something else.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, is a bit peculiar. But the thing is, I like to experience the things that I like to experience everything.
Can I tell them the sculpture park story?
The what?
The sculpture park story.
Oh. Yeah, you can tell them the
so this is an example. I know Dave quite well, so even from a distance I knew what was going on. So we went
I can see my brain processing from a mile away.
From a mile away I could see his brain process. So we went to somewhere called the Yorkshire Sculpture Park, which is very near where we live, and it's a fabulous place to go. Massive tract of land that has lots of sculptures on it, hence Yorkshire Sculpture Park. And they had these big bronze or copper or big metal
rusty type
rusty
things.
heads. They were like the Easter Island heads, that sort of thing. And I was a long way away and I was watching him, and I could see what was going through his brain. What was going through his brain was he touched it and he liked it, liked the feel of it with his hands, and he rubbed his cheek against it and he liked it, and then the next step after that is he wanted to lick it. And he looked round and he caught my eye, and I looked round and made sure nobody's watching and nodded because I knew what he wanted to do, and he licked it. So he licked a statue. But that's his sensory
So don't
bit.
take me there on a very cold day, because otherwise I'd still be there
that's
now.
his sensory bit. He likes to touch it with his hand, and
Yeah.
he always goes cheek, and then if it's really, really nice and he really likes it, he has to lick it.
Yeah, so if I like the feel of something, I'll touch it, and I like the feel
if
of
you
it.
ever meet him
and then I
and
want to feel it on my face, and my cheek is obviously, rather than rubbing it on my, I don't feel very much on my forehead anyway, so I'll feel it on my cheek, and if I really like it, I'll have to lick it because I want to know what my tongue feels like on it, which has got me into trouble in the past.
So if you ever meet him and he licks you, you know he likes you.
I like the feel of you.
Yeah.
What's the point? It's all right. That's not my standard greeting. I will just point out. And I'll never touch anybody unless they like being touched, because I know what it's like to be touched when you don't like being touched.
Yeah.
So like I really love if somebody shakes my hand. I really love if they've got a really tight shake hand. I can be a bit obvious. So if I shake hands with somebody and I shake hands and they've got like what I call a wet fish of a hand, it's like a bit, feels like it's a bit dead, got no like life in it. It's usually clammy.
Then you might as well go.
Then my face is probably going. when I'm not very good at
and you let go of the hand like that.
Yeah, wipe it down the back of my trousers. I'm not, and you see, I'm although I'm self-aware of that,
Don't stop you doing it.
I can't stop myself necessarily doing it. There are times when I know things are not appropriate. So there are times when I won't talk because I know that if I say something, it won't be appropriate. Yeah. So I just don't bother saying anything.
Never ask him an opinion if you don't want an honest answer. Like, does their bum look big in this?
Your bum looks big in this room.
Yeah.
So, no.
It's good to take shopping if you want an honest opinion about clothes.
Yeah, if you want,
because you will go, does this suit me? And you'll go, no, in no uncertain terms.
I can over-explain a situation. I can tell you way too much minute details. So, like, if I go out for a meal, I'll not just tell you what I had to eat, but what colour the decor was, how many pictures there were on the wall, what the annoying thing was, what Barbara said to Mavis on 3 tables down. So, if you say to me, also one of the things that I still can't, I never know what people want from me when they say, "Hi, how are you?"
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of saying "Hi, how are you" if you don't want to know how I am?
Yeah.
I know the standard greeting for most people should be, "Oh yeah, I'm great, thanks for asking," even if you're not. But if I'm not, I'll tell you I'm not, because what's the point in asking me how I am? So if you don't want to know how I am, don't ask me how I am.
Yeah. It's just that kind of...
Just say hello, or even don't say hello.
It's just that kind of literal thing, isn't it?
I don't know how to...
Ask me a literal question, I'll give you the actual
answer. I'm very literal, so I take things very literally. I don't pick up on sarcasm. I don't...
Well, you say that. You've known me a long time.
No, I've learnt a lot of sarcasm. I learnt it, but I wouldn't know it.
That's my fault.
Brian's very sarcastic.
I have a very sarcastic sense of humour, and he spent a lot of time with me.
And apparently I can be sarcastic, but I don't know that I'm being sarcastic. So
again, that's just because you've spent time with me. You've kind of... My sense of humour, I think, has rubbed off a bit. Because you get it now. You get my sense of humour. And so you have become sarcastic. So and then occasionally you'll go, "Is that sarcasm?" It's like, "Yep."
Yeah, I almost sometimes, if I don't know it though, if it's a quip that somebody says that's a sarcastic quip, that I don't know them and I don't know they're being sarcastic, I won't know it's sarcasm. Yeah. Whereas I don't understand how people do know it's sarcasm.
I don't know. Maybe with me, just because you've known me so long.
And the same with if, somebody doesn't literally mean it. How do they know? How do they know that some people do mean it literally and some people don't mean it literally? That whole social interaction thing really baffles me. I don't actually understand it, and that's why I know that this is going to be really contradictory to anybody that's ever watched me, but I'm not that social. I can be social, but I wouldn't go out and socialise because I don't know how to start a conversation. Equally, I don't know how to end a conversation, so I can end up being left with the one person that nobody else wants to speak to because you can't ever get away from them. So I get left with them, and then I don't ever have any other conversation. I end up being, so like Christmas parties, I'm stood with that one person, and they're talking the hind legs off a donkey.
You don't know how to end a phone call either.
No, I don't like phone calls. Phone calls are very uncomfortable. I really do not like... I'd rather sit with a video. Actually, I'd rather sit with a video and talk to people on a video than I would do to talk to somebody in real life.
No.
But I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't want a phone call. I'll happily text you, but I wouldn't want a phone call. So lots of people say, "Oh yeah, we should talk on the phone sometime." No, we really shouldn't. Please don't make me. I'll video call you, absolutely. So
even me though, you'd
Yeah, I still
when
not.
I've learned over time.
I'll want the conversation over as quick.
To tell you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go.
There are times when I will ring Brian and I'll say, Brian, you know, it's easier for me to tell you in a phone call than it is to me to tell you in a text. But I will avoid those. I'd rather send 15,000 texts than actually have to. If it's too convoluted, though. Yeah. Because I know I can't. If I send a text, I won't be able to say. Brian can't then interject and say, "Yeah, that's fine. I understand that bit, but tell me that bit."
Yeah.
Whereas in a phone call, he can move the conversation onto the salient points. Yeah. Rather than. I've
just had to learn with phone calls. I've had to learn to say, right, I'm going to let you go now because you've got stuff to do.
Yes.
So that you kind of take that then as your future. Oh, all right, thank you, bye.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not good at that side of things. But like I say, I love being... I come alive when a camera's on me. So I like to... I like to...
It's like getting switched on. Ta-da!
Yeah.
Action!
Yeah.
I'm on camera.
I can have had the worst day ever, and I've been crying right up to the moment when somebody switches the camera on, and I'm alive.
Does my makeup look okay?
Yeah, and yeah. So I don't know what that is, and it's not even like I'm like terribly vain or anything, because I don't have a very good sense of self. So it's not like I necessarily like how I look. I always think like that's not who I look like. When I see myself in the mirror, I always think, no, it's not me.
What were you saying about the camera puts how much on?
Yeah, I've done a video. Actually, I'm going to link that on this. There's a video that I've done for work for World Autism Awareness Day. And so I'll link that in the description below. And they, when Stacey was editing the video, and she was going through, listening to it and back and forth and playing things, and I could hear my voice. And then it was when I turned around, I was like, "That's never me." Because like, I'm sure she stretched my face out widescreen. It's like I look much fatter than I think I am inside. I'm like a stick insect inside my head, but I'm not on the outside. That's the problem. So, but anyway, yeah. Let's see. Digress. I'm very good at digressing. Not very good at staying on track.
Tangents. You're good at tangents.
The other thing I'm very good at is metaphors.
That's true, actually.
If somebody doesn't understand a situation, I'll use a metaphor to help somebody understand. So I used to teach employability skills, and one of the big things is if you've never been to an interview, how do you know what an interview is like? So I used to say, going to an interview is like going on a date. You're trying to establish a relationship. You're going to be on your best behaviour. You're not gonna veer off topic. You want people to come away with a really good image of you. You're going to dress up for it, and people would understand that, and therefore have a much better idea of going on a date, or going to an interview, it being like a date, than they would do if I just said, "Well, you've just got to go. You've just got to be smart." But why? What? I don't understand. So. Because for me, I lack imagination. So I know this is going to sound ridiculous, because like people always say, "Well, you can't lack an imagination. Look at the things that you make." I replicate. There are things I've seen in life, and think that's why I like things like utilitarian stuff, because all of that, Cold War documentation, or wartime documentation, or like it could be anything, a file folder. I'll replicate something that already exists in life. I embellish it a bit with like other things on top, but I will make stuff that exists. I find it very hard. It's like when I used to make paper flowers. I'll make paper flowers of either paper flowers I've seen or of flowers that I know exist. if somebody said to me, make a Martian flower that nobody has ever seen in the world, I would struggle, because I don't have an imagination to imagine what that would be like. And that's why you can't hypnotise me. So, now you know. So stop trying. Because people say...
I'm not buying you any more clocks then.
That's not what you tried to do, hypnotise me. It's not working.
I thought 30 clocks all in sync.
That's why it's difficult to hypnotise me, because I can't imagine. So they'll often say, imagine you're on a beach. Well, what's the beach look like? Has it got... And I honestly, when I was trying to learn to drive, and I was getting nervous going on my test, somebody suggested hypnosis was good for, like, you know, managing the calm and that sort of thing. The lady ended up giving me my money back and said, you know, she can't do anything for me because I can't. Because every time she said, imagine you're that, and I had asked far too many questions for her to be able to cope. Yep, so she just said, no, it's fine. All right, okay. Like, imagine you're on a beach. Okay, where's this beach? Yeah, what's the weather like? Is it a sandy beach or a pebbly beach? Just any beach. Imagine that there's palm trees. I've never been on a beach with palm trees. I can imagine palm trees because I've seen a palm tree, but I can't imagine it being on a beach because I've never been on a beach with palm trees. And so then she'd change it and say, imagine you're in a where was it? Oh, you're in a block of flats. Okay, no, in an office block. You're in an office block. And you walk in off the street and you step into the lift. Now I can imagine that because I've been there, okay, and I know what a lift looks like. And you press a button, and you press level 10, and you can feel the lift going down. Well, it doesn't go down, does it? You get in on the ground floor. You don't get on the 10th floor and go down. So you unless you're going into the basement. And why would you be going into the basement? Why would it be 10 floors down in the basement? And basically what she's trying to do is get you to count down from 10 to 1, so you kind of... And
you were none of it.
It's too literal, that's why. So yeah, so that's... I digressed a lot, and like now you know nobody's got any idea what I'm talking about now, have they? So sensory, so touch, sound. I'm all right with textures in my mouth usually. There's very few things I don't like. I don't like bananas though, because it's not the... I don't mind the... I can eat a banana if I bite into it. I don't mind the taste of it. I can chew it to a certain point and then I have to swallow the rest of it whole, because it goes like liquidized slug after a while. And it's that all that kind of like gloopy, sticky.
And what makes your tongue numb?
Melon makes my tongue numb. Watermelon and that sort of... No, not watermelon. Honeydew melon, cantaloupe melon, they make my tongue numb. Pineapple makes my tongue numb. Makes the tip of my tongue numb and itchy. And celery makes my tongue numb. I don't mind mixture of... A lot of autistic people like their food to be completely separate, and I don't mind that. I don't mind it all being together. Taste-wise, I'm okay. So I used to think I didn't like hot stuff, hot food, spicy food, but I do. But I like it. It still makes... So even if it's the mildest spice, I like it anyway. I like it quite hot actually now, like as in spicy hot. But even if it's the mildest, it'll make my nose and eyes run. But that, even if it's hot in temperature as well, it'll make my nose and eyes run. So that's a bit odd. There's a bit on my knee that if you scratch it, it feels like you're scratching my inner thigh. There's a bit on my forehead.
I've forgotten about that. Your whale hole.
Yeah, I've got Brian calls it the blowhole. I've got I occasionally get like that's horrible, but I've got a spot in it, and so sometimes I get Brian to like get it for me.
It's basically a massive deep paw, and it gets a blackhead in it when it occasionally every now and again. But if you squeeze it, he has a sneezing fit.
Yeah, it makes my nose itch, which is really, and it's not even over my nose. It's like over to one side. It's over this side. So it's referred to as the blowhole. So I'm a bit like a whale, which would explain the size. Maybe that's why I just need to say, Slimming World, it's my natural size. I am actually a whale. I am a land whale. So. Rather than a sea slug. I can't swim because I can't get the coordination right.
Yeah, but you've not really tried, have you? You need to go have some lessons. And
yeah, no, I know, but like, you know, you can only drown once, so
it wouldn't happen in a swimming pool. There's too many staff. You just find one with hunky lifeguards.
Okay, maybe then. That's is that the vetting process? Oh, I don't want to drown here. Then, it's like Yorkshire Fire Service. No offence if you work for Yorkshire Fire Service, but the last time I saw Yorkshire Fire Service, I think I wouldn't want to be rescued from a fire by you guys. So, honestly,
with their pot bellies.
Yeah.
You'd never be able to get me over your shoulder.
Touch, taste, sound, smell. Unless it's a really strong odor, I'm not that keen on really strong odors. I don't like lingering odors.
Talking about you,
yeah. The dog's just looked at me going, "What, me? Lingering odor?" He's all right though. I'll let him off. Him and his lingering odor. Touch, taste, sound, smell.
But some
that's
sounds,
it,
some
isn't it?
sounds
Really?
are soothing,
Yes,
noise.
White noise. The sound of white noise is basically when they used to have AM, FM radios, and when you didn't quite reach a radio station, it'd be. I love that. I could listen to that for hours. It's fantastic. I like the hum of the cabin noise in an aircraft, not the screaming of the child. I can't cope with screaming children. That's a really too high pitch.
People can though.
It's just too much. I'm not really great with kids, to be fair. I'm a big enough child, thanks very much. I'm hugging the limelight. Not selfish at all. Job-wise, I manage my job quite well. I do have some periods where it's really stressful. It's usually when lots of people are asking me lots of questions, or I've got compound questioning. That's where somebody will ask me 15 questions in one sentence. Some of that is stressful because I don't like being bombarded with information, but equally I find it stressful because I can't always remember what they asked me right at the very start. So I'll always ask people to ask me one question at a time. Same in an email. I can't get people. I find comprehension of what people are trying to say to me difficult. So if you're asking questions, individual questions,
I think some of that
one singular sensation. Sorry,
I think that's also part of.
I'm dyslexic as well, which I don't think
but
helps.
in some respects, English language these days, because nobody writes properly anymore.
Yeah, nobody writes proper like what I do.
What I do.
Yeah.
But things like, if I'm going to ask you a question in a text, it has to have a question mark.
Yeah.
If I want an answer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just a statement and you don't answer.
Yeah.
So then I have to ask again.
Yeah, you didn't answer my question, or you didn't ask a question because you didn't put a question mark on it. So
so you have to literally. I'm asking you a question.
Because
question mark.
For that, then that's the same though, because like some people have rhetorical questions, and so therefore they answer it themselves.
Yeah.
So how do I know that you haven't asked it and you're just theorising and putting it out there, and yet you didn't need an answer? If I came back with an answer to everything, people would think I was being, I don't know, whatever. I was being that.
That's what I said.
Can't think of the
You
word.
learn to always put if you want an answer, you put a question mark. It's proper English anyway.
yeah, I'm a bit. Yeah, it has to be a question mark on it if you want an answer to it. Because then, oh well, it was obvious it was a question. Well, it was obvious to you, but it wasn't to me. Otherwise, I would have answered it, wouldn't I? So, because I always do what I say. Rules, I love following. Ow, stabby. Oh well. So.
Drama. Oh well. Drama over.
I have to follow rules. So if it says I do 70 miles an hour on the motorway, I do 70 miles an hour on the motorway. I won't do 71 or 72.
True, actually.
If if it says that you need to stop at this line, I stop at that line. If people say wait here, I will wait there. Even if they go, well, no, you could have come up, or, like usually if it's in reception. If you just wait here, and then they say, oh no, you need to come with me. Well, you just told me to wait here. So you have to be very specific and I take things very literally. Yeah, so I work, like I say, I work full time. I am a resources team leader. I'm but technically a manager, resources manager. Just don't get paid a manager's wage. I manage all of the utilities, the purchasing, the well, I manage the person that manages the fleet. I manage all of the cleaning services. I manage the buildings. I manage the rentals of the buildings.
You saved $1 million.
I manage the IT services, the communication services. So I negotiate contracts and get things put into place. I look at existing problems, find solutions. I am physically hands-on. I don't just sit in an office. I now wear a uniform. I used to wear like Dickie Bow and a 3-piece suit, but there's no point anymore because I used to be climbing under people's desks and that sort of thing. So now I'll wear a uniform and get my hands dirty. I put shelves up.
But it's also have you tried turning it on often?
Yeah, I deal with everybody's IT and people say, how do you know all of this? Do you know how I know it all? Is I'm just quicker at Googling it than you are. So
True.
so I don't know it necessarily everything. I just know how to Google it.
But you do like techie things, so
I love tech.
Things like phones and computers and stuff like that. You're good at because you're interested in it.
Yeah.
So you learn it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you think about it, we're the same age, so we both come from a generation that didn't really have computers anywhere.
There was one in our school.
Oh, there weren't any in my school until the year I left. And we are completely different. If I want something doing now, it's like, Dave, what do I push? What do I say? What do I do when it comes to technology? Because
it's because I have an interest in it.
Because I don't care.
No.
I have an iPhone. It sends texts. I can get onto Pinterest.
But you have an iPhone because you said to me, my phone's dying. I need to get another one.
Yeah.
They've offered me this one. Is that okay? You wouldn't necessarily have known that was going to be a decent device, would you?
And I still don't. Like, I'm just about to buy a new printer, and
so I do.
Dave, go find me a good printer. This is what I want.
I'm really good at research.
Yeah.
So I'll research something, until I absolutely can guarantee that what I'm telling you is factual and helpful and it'll do what you want it to do, etc. I won't just say, oh well, doesn't matter. I'll pretend I've done it. I can't lie, so I can't say yes, I've done something if I haven't done it, because you'll know I haven't done it because I'll just end up telling you I haven't done it. So
or how nice the weather is.
Or I'll change the subject. Oh, isn't the weather lovely? So I think that's kind of like basically like my autism in in a nutshell. So I've covered.
In an hour long video.
So I wanted to say what I wanted to go. It's really hard for me to remember what I wanted to achieve objective wise. So I wanted to say how it affects me. I wanted to say about the challenges that I have. Meltdowns. If you're ever with me and I'm having a meltdown, just be patient. Talk to me. Don't ignore me and annex me from your life because it's embarrassing. Because trust me, it might be embarrassing for you, but it's way more embarrassing for me, especially if I have to go there again. Because I've got to remember I am self-aware, so I will remember that has happened. Just be patient with me. Talk to me. If you're a complete stranger and somebody's having a meltdown, I would suggest don't touch them. Sit next to them and talk to them, even if they're not responding to you, because I can't respond in a meltdown. I can't reply to you. I can't chat with you. I can't tell you what my name is. I can't have a conversation with you. But what that doesn't mean that I'd want you to pretend that I don't exist.
I don't mean you can't hear him.
Yeah, so I can still hear you. I just can't interact with you. So what the best thing to do is, if I was having a meltdown, sit next to me, say, "Hi, my name's whatever. Tell me about your job and what you do, and like, you just, speak gently. Don't shout. Equally, don't touch me, and so not even just to like touch my leg or touch my arm. Don't touch me. Better if you don't, because I would rather you just grab me rather than gently touch me, which I can't explain to you anyway. So
I would,
but don't go and grab people either, because like, just because I like it doesn't mean everybody else does. Talk to me, until I'm able to talk to you, and then it'll be little words every now and again.
And lots of sorries.
And yeah, lots of sorries, because I'm self-aware. I'll be like apologising for everything. Just let me speak when I'm able to speak and tell you what I want to tell you. Also, don't speak to me like a child either. I do get a lot of, so I could be shopping normally in a supermarket, and then something has caused a meltdown. Usually, I'll be honest, the way that people have spoken to me has triggered it. Okay. Now I've seen a couple of videos. I'm just going to add this on because I wanted to say about this. I've seen a couple of videos that go viral quite a bit about Karens going mad in shops, and actually a lot of what I see, I'm thinking this person might have undiagnosed autism, because they are going what people call crazy, and it actually looks very similar to the way when I have a meltdown, is I'm going a bit like screaming and upset and a bit incoherent about things, and people can't understand why they're like behaving like that, and so it upsets me, because I think, well, yeah, that person might be being a complete pain in the arse, but actually they might also be not aware of it as well. So anyway, don't necessarily judge what you see. Try and get a bit more of an understanding about things. So so if I'm having a meltdown, I won't necessarily be coherent. I might be very upset, distraught. Just sit on the floor. I'll probably be sat on the floor somewhere. I'll go and find somewhere as quiet as I possibly can, sitting on the floor. Sit with me. Don't try and necessarily expect me to interact with you. Just talk to me until I come out of it, and then we'll probably have a bit of a chat, and I'll need to stay there for a bit until I'm able to. So it might be uncomfortable, cold, on the floor, whatever. I will be feeling exactly the same, but I will definitely appreciate your support for that. But I'm not. I'll apologise for it all the way through.
But that's just conditioned into you, isn't it?
Yeah. So the baby talk thing. You don't talk to me like a child. I get a lot of people who will go, "Are you okay? Are you going to be all right? I'm not 5. leave me alone? And also, I'll get people that where I've had a meltdown and they see me next time and they speak to me like I'm a child. Next time, I drive a car. I own a house. I have a degree education. I am a qualified teacher. I am not a child. Just because in a moment of time you see me in a childlike state, a very vulnerable state, does not say that I am that person 100% of the time. So I often get people when you
small part of
when you say, I say to people I work, you know, they I'm sure they have this image of do you bless you. What,
pack vegetables.
Yeah, do you pack vegetables, or do you collect trolleys, or do you litter pick? I mean, like, I'm not saying that those are invalid jobs, because they're not. What I'm trying to say is, don't categorize people based on your opinion of what something is. Everybody has an equal footing in society. We are all valued human beings, and that's everybody. Even if somebody has reduced capacity, they are valued and wanted. You might not see their worth, but you are not, the high and mighty. You are not there to judge. I was always taught, never look down on somebody unless you're bending over them to pick them up. So
true.
And that way then you're doing is you're lifting someone, you're not.
I see the way people have treated you, but also, I work with autistic children that are a lot more challenging and severely autistic in some cases, and non-verbal and quite violent on occasion. But when we take them out in the community, the way people look at them and stare at them on buses, it's quite disgusting. It really is.
Yeah. But you started working with autistic people because of knowing me, didn't you?
Yeah, basically.
So
two things happened. I moved into a house of a man who ran an establishment where autistic children stayed, and because I knew Dave, I got involved when offered the opportunity to do so.
And you've learnt a lot of things, which has helped me as well in turn, because I've learnt a lot of what the things that I thought were peculiar to me aren't peculiar to me. So, so things like, I mean, I hadn't heard of anything, because you've got to remember, I didn't get a diagnosis until later in life. So when you get a diagnosis as an adult, you're basically, yeah, you're autistic. Bye. Bye. Don't get any support or anything. It's literally, you're on your own now. There you go. Take that diagnosis with you and leave. So I haven't had any. So I didn't know what pica was, but now I do. And actually, I do have a bit of pica. That wanting to put things in my mouth could be linked to being a bit of pica. I've always, as a child, put things in my mouth. So, like, worms and slugs and snails and stuff that would actually repulse me now, because I know what they feel like. Most people are going, because they think, the very idea of it, I know what it feels like. It's not the idea of it, so I know what it feels like, and it does make me feel a bit like that, because I do know. So that's the other good thing, is I'll never not try something. So if somebody says, try this is lovely, taste this, I'll always try it, because I can't tell you I don't like it if I've not tried it.
But if you don't like it, you'll know.
Yeah. Bananas. So yeah. So that's basically my kind of. I haven't done I haven't done anywhere near as much as Brian has in the time, but then again, I have been trying to talk at the same time. So that's basically it.
That's good.
What'd you say? We kind of covered everything.
Well, yeah, you want to talk about you and how
I wanted to talk about me, autism.
Yeah.
I also want to say a massive thank you to everybody that supported me. I'm now on 1,041 people who are subscribed. I know statistically people don't subscribe. They might watch the videos, but they don't subscribe. Just on that, anybody that makes YouTube content, thank you. Thank you if you make YouTube content. Even if I've never watched you, thank you, because you're doing something for free for other people to watch. And if I watch a video of yours, I'll always like it, and I'll always, you know, try and interact with it. I don't always get to watch a lot of videos because I work a lot of hours, and then I do my own stuff as well. But if I have watched it and I like it, I'll always credit you if I make something of yours. I'll always, you know, do what I can to support you. If I really like the stuff that you're doing, then I'll subscribe, etc. But I want to say thank you to everybody that does any kind of content on YouTube. Doesn't matter how many people are subscribing. Thank you, because you're adding content. You're giving. Not many people would expect to be able to go to a class to learn how to do something for free, and that's what YouTube does. So that's why YouTubers, us YouTubers, are constantly saying, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like this video, subscribe, because we need you to be there for us, because we're making content for you. Thank you to everybody that's ever donated any money to me through buy me a coffee or my Ko-fi. I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful for that, because that really helps my. I don't earn a huge amount of money. I do a lot of jobs, but I don't earn a huge amount of money because I'm a team leader and not a manager. So I don't get paid for all the stuff I do. You'd think I'd be a multi-millionaire, but I'm not. So the money that people contribute to me helps me to be able to buy more stuff, to be able to make more things, to be able to have more time to make more content. Otherwise I'd have to go out and get a second job to be able to just afford to live these days. So and thank you to anybody that's ever bought any of my digitals. Thank you for everybody that has bought digitals. Thank you to those people that have reviewed digitals as well. I used to have a 5-star rating, and then one individual who was not happy with me for a certain circumstance that happened a few months ago, back in October, had bought lots of digitals from me, given me a great rating, and then went back and gave them 1 star after they fell out with me, basically, for something I don't even know what I did. So to be fair,
it was something I did not.
Yeah, something that Brian had done, and not something I'd done.
Weirdly, something that I'd done to someone else, not even to her.
Yeah. So, and then they went back and they gave me, for all of the something like 10 things that they'd bought, gave me a 1-star rating, which really dropped my ratings down. So thank you to everybody that's ever rated me, because everybody else since has given me 5 stars. So it's not my products. So and like, really, that aggrieves me, because if I've not done something, I'm really upset by it, and I get a bit of PTSD, so I relive these things. So you can never do anything to me as hurtful as the stuff I'll do to myself as a result of that. I'll just replay it. But that's everything in life. That the taste of that slug, the taste of that banana, the meltdown in Sainsbury's, that I'll replay all of that. So as my life gets longer, this is why I sleep less, because my brain's just constantly playing back all of those things in life. So
which really, it should be sleeping more, because you need sleep.
Yeah, I do need sleep. I don't sleep very well these days. So yeah, sorry. I digress a lot, and I apologise a lot as well. So sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry for being sorry. Apologies.
And how many times have I said this? You've got nothing to be sorry for.
Yeah, it's really hard though, isn't it?
I know.
So yeah, I hope this video has helped you understand me a bit more. Maybe it's helped you understand autism a bit more. Please don't go and try and put my autism, transpose my autism onto somebody else, because even if you know they're autistic, they're not going to have the same experience as me. ask them. If they're non-verbal, you know, support them. If they're non-verbal, their parents will understand, or their friends will understand. But, or, you know, at the very least, befriend people, because, you know, without Brian, I wouldn't know anybody. I wouldn't have gone and met anybody. So I'm grateful to Brian, because Brian is my social club. So
technically,
I'm not paying you to be a membership fee.
But technically, if you didn't know me, you wouldn't have gone out with Annette that day, and you wouldn't have met Vic.
No. Yeah. So I wouldn't have met Vic without Brian, because we were out on a day out with a friend of his, because somebody that he worked with, and now I know Vic. So yeah, so it's all linked. So just be a friend, and you know, and I've made some friends through YouTube as well. So you know, I'm grateful to those people who are here for me. And I'm sorry if I've gone on a lot today. There was a lot for me to say.
No, don't be sorry.
I really hope that people, of any video, this is the one that will torment me if people don't like it. If you don't give it a thumbs up, it'll torment me, because that will almost say that you're not interested, or I take things very literally. So if it hasn't had a like, I'll worry about it, won't I, Brian?
You will.
I'll say, I can't do that. I can't do anything like that, because the last time I did something like that, it only got X amount of likes, and statistically that's X percentage lower than that one, and so that means that people didn't like it, when that video got released, I dropped 2 subscribers, so that means that they don't like. I overanalyze a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So
Overthinking, overanalyzing.
If you want to know the outcome to anything in life, the best thing is either to ask me or ask somebody who has the same traits in autism as I do, because I will have thought of every possible conceivable outcome to that situation before you've even finished a sentence. So
that's very true.
So I laugh about it, but it can also torture me. So and at the end of the day, all I've ever wanted as a human being is to fit in. And I know that I don't always fit in. And I know that every friend that I have will have to support me at some point in my life, as in, you know, just be there for me and reassure me, or, you know, hold my hand, or tell somebody to mind their own business when I'm having a meltdown, or whatever. But yeah.
It's fine, go away.
Yeah.
I've said that many a time.
So
not if they're being concerned, but when they're gawping.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I have I've only scratched the surface of what it is to be autistic. But remember, don't be patronising. Don't use baby talk. Speak to people in a normal tone, and not one size fits all. All autistic people are completely different. We might share common similarities. And also, don't say, oh, that's fine, I deal with that every day, because I bet you don't. And if you do, and you deal with that plus 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 that, then go and get a diagnosis, because you're probably autistic. So
suddenly the diagnosis rate,
and then you can then legitimately say, I deal with that every day. And I think here comes Vic, so he'll be coming in the door any moment now.
Cool.
In fact, he can't get in, so Brian's going to have to let him in.
Oh,
so yeah.
Excuse me. Bye.
So I shall round up the video, and I'll see you all very soon. So thank you very much. Say goodbye, Brian.
Bye.
Thanks very much. You all have a great day. Look after yourself. Remember, I love you all without exception until you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to. Take care, folks. Bye. Bye.
1,800 hours recording. This year has been our annus horribilis. Cut it out, cut it out, cut it out.
Oh, you cut it out.
Do with it. Is it a smorgasbord of fussy cutting? It was a smorgasbord of the fussy cutting.
I've got my feet up, is that alright?
I don't know, can we see your feet in the video?
I don't know, I can't see what they can see.
Go have a look.
I nearly did then, Brian, and then I was... Mind that wire.
I thought
Good, because this is so comfortable.
you're the one that propped us up. No slouching.
This is how we always fussy cut. Fussy.
Sat up straight.
So,
Is it recording?
it is. Is it?
Don't know, I'm asking.
It should be.
I'll go have a look.
So, how do I start?
Hello.
Now you can go. Action. Action.
Sunday morning video release. Take 1. Saturday afternoon at 1800 hours recording. This year has been our annus horribilis. Mainly because we died last year.
Last year? No,
No, year before, wasn't it?
what?
Queenie.
No, it wasn't that the year before, was it? No.
No, it's been dead a year. Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah.
She died before Crimbo, didn't she?
Oh yeah. Barbara Horribilis. Oh, don't twat.
Get your own. I've got mine.
Put it out.
Cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out.
Oh, you cut it out.
Do with it. Is it a smorgasbord of fussy cutting? It was a smorgasbord of the fussy cutting.
Oh, I don't know whether I've got my feet up, is that alright?
I don't know, can we see your feet in the video?
I don't know, I can't see what they can see.
Go have a look.
I nearly did then, Brian, and then I was... Mind that wire.
I thought
It's alright. It's not...
yeah, I can see your feet. Better?
Can you see the poof?
No. You just see your knees.
Good, because this is so comfortable.
You're the one that propped us up. No slouching.
This is how we always fussy cut. Fussy.
Sat up straight.
Okay, so...
Is it recording?
It is. Is it?
Don't know, I'm asking.
It should be.
I'll go have a look.
Oh, sorry, Brian. This is turning into a Alice.
Oh yeah, there's 3 minutes in already. Ooh, cold back. Cold.
So we'll start with
Can we have the bin down there?
oh yeah, we'll do that. Yours will probably step out like that. They used to be on the old sofa.
I swing my feet without touching the floor. Taking the mickey out, mate. Go away.
Sorry?
You taking the mickey out, mate? Go away.
Might be.
I thought you
Might
would.
be.
Might be. Rude.
I might be. I am actually. So, how do I start?
Yeah.
So
Welcome.
We'll do an introduction and then say today is
Welcome to the BBC.
I thought about cutting them out, so I left it for you.